All right, there we go. All right, there we go. This is the 26 CFR 31.6011 B-2 employees account numbers. This is the reason why I'm showing you this one is because this is going to help you shut down your employer when he's trying to steal your money out your check, say he's got to do this and he's got to do that. Well, this is the employees account numbers. If you guessed it, that it's your social security number is an account number. That's what this is talking. This is what this is talking about. And let me go and read it. I'm going to read through this. I might skip a few sections. Try to cover what applies to most people. So here we go. 26 CFR 31.6011B-2 employees account numbers. Requirement of application in general. I'm skipping number 1 because that's before 1962 and may not apply to most people right now. But here we go. 2. On or after November 1st, 1962, every employee who on any day after October 31st, 1962 is in employment for wages which are subject to the taxes imposed by the Federal Insurance Contribution Act, or which are subject to the withholding of income tax from wages under Section 3402, but who prior to such day has neither secured an account number nor made application therefore, shall make an application on Form SS5 for an account number. So, what's an account? Yeah, they call it an account number. And they also said Federal Insurance Contribution Act. That's FICA. That's that person. Mute your mic, everyone. I know what I'm gonna do. I will do it. All right, if y'all can mute your mic. Thank you. Got it. All right, sorry about that. All right, let's look at what Wikipedia says about the Federal Insurance Act. It says the Federal Insurance Contribution Act is a United States federal payroll or employment contribution directed towards both employees and employers to fund Social Security and Medicare. Federal programs that provide benefits for retirees, people with disabilities, and children of deceased workers. So FICA is for retirement, people with disabilities, and children of deceased workers. Okay, so it's not just for retirement. So you might know someone or you might have someone in your home that is disabled. And that's what that money is funding. Right? And they said it's a contribution. So what's the definition of a contribution? Okay, because when I think of contribution, it's a gift or a payment to common fund or collection. Donation, here's the synonyms. Is my screen big enough? I'll make it a little bigger. Donation, gift, offering, present, handout, grant, subsidy, allowance, endowment, subscription, benefaction. So, by their definition, that FICA is a gift. You're giving a gift to this FICA fund. And it's not mandatory, as they may say. You have to give up this money. You have to give away this money. Like your employer would say, and so many people with street logic would say, because the only knowledge they got is what somebody told them. Like most people on this planet. Their knowledge is hearsay. So that's a contribution. Let's go back. 3, method of application. The application shall be prepared in accordance with the form, instruction, regulations applicable thereto, and shall set forth fully and clearly the data therein called for. The employee shall file the application with the District Office of Social Security Administration, or if the employee is not working within the United States, with the District Office of Social Security Administration at Baltimore, Maryland. Form SS-5 may be obtained from any district office of the Social Security Administration or from any district director. An account number will be assigned to the employee for the Social Security Administration in due course upon the basis of information reported on the application required under this section. A card showing the name and account number of the employee to whom an account number has been assigned will be furnished to the employee by the Social Security Administration. So let's break this paragraph down. This sheds a lot of light on what's going on. First of all, the only time you're supposed to even get a Social Security card is when you're getting ready to go to work, because they're telling you to apply for it when you're going for a job. That's when you need it, and it's needed for the FICA fund if you want to give that money to FICA. So basically, if you're reading this correctly, they're saying you really don't need a Social Security card or an account number unless you're ready to give away some money. Yeah, FICA is on everybody's check, Marco. All right. FICA's been robbing y'all. Time for filing Form SS-5. The application shall be filed on or before the 7th day after the occurrence of the first day of employment. It's telling you when to fill out an SS-5 form. But yet, SS-5 forms are filled out for children, babies. Okay. Reference made in paragraph A1 of this section. Unless the employee leaves the employer of his employer before such 7th day, in which case the application shall be filed on or before the date on which the employee leaves the employee of his employer. So it's telling you, if you're going to get a job and you want to give some money away, it needs to be done on or before the 7th day on that job, the first job you get. That's when you go get an account number. That makes sense, right? When you turn of age to go get your own account numbers, you go to the bank, you open up your own account when you're ready to put money in it. Right? 3, changes and correction. Any employee may have his account number changed at any time by applying to a district office of the Social Security Administration and showing good reason for a change. With that exception, only one account number will be assigned to an employee. Any employee whose name is changed by marriage or otherwise, or who has stated incorrect information on Form SS-5 should report such change or correction to a district office of the Social Security Administration. Copies of the form for making such reports may be obtained from any district office of the administration. So, we have been misled that we need, even when you look at the 1040 and doing a tax return and you have children, they're not even supposed to have an account number yet. But they're wanting to. I think it's if they're over 2 years old, 1 or 2, you have to have a social to put on there to claim them as a dependent, or they won't give it to you. Okay. Duties of employee with respect to his account number. 1. Information to be furnished to employee. An employee shall, on the day on which he enters the employer of an employer for wages, comply with provisions of paragraph B1, 1, 2, 3, or 4 of this section, except that if the employee's services for the employer consist solely of agricultural labor, domestic service in a private home of the employer, not on a farm operated for profit, or service not in the course of the employee's trade or business. The employee shall comply with such provisions on the first day on which wages are paid to him by such employer, within the meaning of Section 31.3, 3121, A-2. I suggest you guys go and read whenever they refer to a code, go read it. All right, I'm not going to read it because for the sake of time. Because as you can see, these codes are extensive, and a lot of times you have to read it several times to really pick it up. Okay, now, employee who has an account number card. If the employee has been given an account number card by the Social Security Administration and has the card available, the employee shall show it to the employer. Employee who has a number but card not available. If the employee does not have available the account number card issued to him by the Social Security Administration but knows what his account number is and what his name is, exactly as shown on such card, the employee shall advise the employer of such number and name. Care must be exercised that the employee is correctly advised of such number and name. Employee who has receipt acknowledging application. If the employee does not have an account number card but has available a receipt issued to him by an Office of Social Security Administration acknowledging that an application for an account number has been received, the employee shall show such receipt to the employer. Okay, number 4, employee who is unable to furnish number or receipt. Listen closely. If an employee is unable to comply with the requirement of paragraph B1, 1, 2, or 3 of this section, the employee shall furnish the employee shall furnish to the employer a statement in writing signed by the employee, setting forth the date of the statement, the employee's full name, present address, date and place of birth, father's full name, mother's full name before marriage, and the employee's sex, including a statement as to whether the employee has previously filed an application on Form SS5 and, if so, the date and place of such filing. The information required by this subdivision shall be furnished on Form SS5 if a copy of Form SS5 is available. The furnishing such a Form SS5 or other statement, keep in mind they keep saying other statement, by the employee to the employer does not relieve the employee of his obligation to make an application on Form SS5 and file it with District Office of Social Security Administration as required by paragraph A of this section. The foregoing provisions of this subdivision are not applicable to an employee engaged exclusively in the performance of domestic service in the private home of his employer, not on a farm operated for profit, or in the performance of agricultural labor. If the services are performed for an employer other than an employer required to file returns of taxes imposed by Federal Insurance Contributions Act with the Office of the United States Internal Revenue Service in Puerto Rico, however, such employee shall advise the employer of his full name and present address. Now, didn't they just showed you that the United States Internal Revenue Service is in where? Puerto Rico. It just showed you that. So, all right. I wanted y'all to pay attention to other statements. So you can give your employer a statement as to why you don't have an account number, aka Social Security number. I could actually draft up a template to help y'all, but there's always going to be one person that's going to not follow directions and lose their job, and they're going to blame it on me. So I'm not touching that. Okay? So there you go. What I suggest, go back and read this over and over and create you a template for yourself. So that you can stop these contributions coming out of your check. All right. So, if you've already signed a contract with these people, you know what? Let's take questions before I go on, because people write, so what if I've already have my info? I don't understand what you're saying, Marco.
Hey, peace, Aki. So this is for people that are like maybe starting a new job and they don't have your social security number or anything like that.
You're going into a new job. You're going into a new employment. Pretty much,
so this one
already in a job. They got your information. You already signed some contracts. I'm gonna go over the W-4 form. So anyway, that you've already filled out. You know, I've done several shows on it, but still people are confused. But I'm going to go over it and show you how even that W-4 form that you already did is not correct. It's not complete. So you can undo that. You know, it tells you there. When we get there, we'll talk about that. All right, anybody else got a question? Anybody else? Before I move on, keep going. We got some more to read. All right, okay. 3, furnishing of a kit. Where was I? That was okay. Additional information to be furnished by employee to employer. Every employee who, on the day on which he is required to comply with paragraph B1, 2, 3, and 4 of this section has an account number card, but for any reason does not show such card to employer on such day shall promptly thereafter show the card to the employer. An employee who does not have an account number card on such day shall, upon receipt of an account number card from the Social Security Administration, promptly show such card to the employer. If he is still in the employ of that employer, if the employee has left the employ of the employer with the employee receives an account number card from the Social Security Administration, he shall promptly advise the employer of his account number and name exactly as shown on such card. Account number originally assigned to an employee. This is basically telling you, you know, you have to show them that card or tell them what the number is, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to keep reading because we're going to bust that wide open because they're making it like it's mandatory. And I noticed they're not saying Social Security number as we know it to be. They're using it, they keep saying account number card. So that is not a Social Security card. It's an account number card. We've only called it a Social Security card because we have been programmed to believe that. That's it. All right. Let's keep going. I'm going to skip down to, okay, let's go to 3. Account number unknown, return is filed. In any case in which the employee's account number is for any reason unknown to the employer at the time of the employee's return is filed, or any return period with respect to which the employer is required to report the wages paid to such employee. Let's read it. If employee has shown receipt for application, if the employee has shown to the employer as provided in paragraph B13 of this section, a receipt issued to him by the Office of Social Security Administration acknowledging that an application for an account number has been received from the employee, the employer shall enter on the return with the entry with respect to the employee, the name and address of the employee exactly as shown on the receipt, the expiration date of the receipt, and the address of the issuing office. So he could just show his receipt if he goes get his account number. If employee furnished form SS5 or statement, see they keep saying statement. If the employee has furnished information to the employer as provided in paragraph B1, 4 of this section, the employer shall prepare a copy of the form SS5 or statement furnished by the employee and attach a copy to the return. So what it's saying is you could just give them a statement. And that statement could say, I'm not responsible for U.S. tax returns. I'm not responsible for contributing to FICA. And it could be for religious reasons. See, they keep saying or statement. But see, they're not elaborating on what kind of statement. They're not giving you details on what the statement you can say. So that's subject to interpretation. So they can't penalize you for writing a statement out because you're compliant. You're giving them a statement. And that statement can say whatever you want it to say. Of course, you wanted something to say in line with something that benefits you. If employee did not furnish receipt form SF5 or statement, they always put that statement at the end. If neither paragraph C3.1 nor 2 of this section is applicable, The employer shall accept as provided in paragraph C4 of this section attached to the return at Form SS5 or statement signed by the employer setting forth as fully and clearly as practicable the employee's full name, his present or last known address, date or place of birth, father's full name, mother's full name before marriage, the employee's sex, and his statement as to whether an application for an account number has previously been filed by the employee. So it's asking for a statement. Did you file one? I said, no, I didn't file one. It's against my religion. I'm just giving y'all an idea. And if so, the date and place of such filing. The employer shall also insert in such form SS5 or statement an explanation of why he has not secured from the employee the information referred in paragraph B14 of this section, and shall insert the word employer. These are instructions as part of his signature. Now let's skip all the way down to 6, prospective employees. While not mandatory, while not mandatory, it is suggested that the employer advise any prospective employee who does not have an account number of the requirements of paragraphs A, B of this section. So they're telling you that the employee is just forcing you to give them a number is false. It's not mandatory. You don't have to give them because they gave them alternatives on giving up that number. And here it is. File returns, taxes imposed by federal with the Office of the United States Revenue Service in Puerto Rico. So all of these employers are filing returns in Puerto Rico with your wages. All right. Any questions before I go on to the next topic or the next section? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Y'all want that template. Y'all can't wait for that, huh? All right. Now, I gave you an idea on how to, if you got a job, you're going to get a new job, there you go. That is very powerful information for you. And you can use it. All right. Now, let's go to the W-4 form, the 1040 form. Here we go. This is the form most people fill out when they do a tax return. If it's a 1040 long form, 1040 easy, it's a 1040. And go down to section 22. And it says this is your total income. What you have to do is put all these numbers in from 7 to 21. That becomes your income, and you add them together, that's income. That's the way they have it defined here. Right? Now, that's what they want you to believe. Let's go to instructions. Now, I did a show on this. Some of you might already know this, but we're going to go over it. So we're going to look for line 22 so we can understand to make sure that if we're going to fill this out, that it's right. Right? It says other income, line 21. And it tells you what other income is. It gives you a full description. It's a very long explanation. It goes all the way up here to down here, all the way down. There's a couple little sections here. Then we're gonna go find 22. Wait a minute. I must have missed something because I don't see 22. Here's 23. Let's go back up. Let's make sure we didn't miss it again. Let's make sure we do. Our eyes ain't messing with us. Line 21. Let's follow it along. Follow it along. Okay, no line 21. No line 21. No line 21. No line 22, I mean. And it's still missing. I wonder why. Why is it? Because they say this is your total income, right? This is the income they're going to use to calculate what you have to pay them minus these little deductions they got over here from 23 to 35. They give you a definition for all of that on how to use it, but they don't give you instructions for 22. All right, so let's go to 31 USC section 321. I already got it highlighted. This is 31 USC section 321, general authority of the secretary. And this talks about the Secretary of Treasury shall prepare plans for improving managing receipts for the United States government and managing the public debt, carrying out services, issuing warrants, minting coins, all those things, right? Collect receipts, right? So let's go down to D. 2. Well, let's leave number 1 too. The Secretary of the Treasury may accept, hold, administer, and use gifts and bequests of property, both real and personal, for the purposes of aiding or facilitating the work of the Department of Treasury. Gifts and bequests of money and the proceeds from sales of other property received as gifts or bequests shall be deposited in the Treasury in a separate fund and shall be dispersed on order of the Secretary of Treasury. Property accepted under this paragraph and the proceeds thereof shall be used as nearly as possible in accordance with the terms of the gift or bequest. Now, I don't know anybody. Do y'all know anybody that is voluntarily giving gifts to the Treasury? Did you even know they took gifts? So why is this here? So let's keep going. Number 2, for the purposes of federal income. Let's stop. Let's go back. Total income. Federal. This is a federal form. Federal income. All right. For the purpose of federal income, estate, and gift taxes, property accepted under paragraph 1 shall be considered as a gift or bequest to or for the use of the United States. Now, okay, it's for the sake of what is bequest? The action of bequeathing something. That's defining the word. I need, it says a legacy. Let's do it up here. We get a better. That's not giving me any. Same thing. A legacy, inheritance, endowment, settlement, more. So you giving up your legacy? You giving up your inheritance to the government? Huh? So, there you have it. Federal income tax is a gift. So if it's a gift, that means you have an option not to give it up. Now, let's go to page 99 of this same form. I show you they don't give you an explanation of line 22 because they know it's a gift, and they would have to tell you that. They say just total. See, they trick you this way. They say combine the amounts and this is total income, right? But when they give you instructions, just like you see, I went over line 21 to show you how long that explanation was, right? But when they got to 22, they didn't give you no explanation because they would have to tell you. They would actually have to take that code and put it in here and show you that what you're doing is a gift. They have to give you full disclosure. So being deceptive, what you did, omitted that information. It didn't give you full disclosure. And I'm going to address that in the letter. I did somewhat softly in the first letter, but this new letter is going to be asking some very specific questions. All right. All right. Just wanted to show you that. Let's go to page 99 of this same instruction booklet. See, this is the stuff we don't like doing. I don't like doing it. I don't like reading. Look at all these charts. Who wants to read that? And if I read them, I probably wouldn't understand it, right? I mean, they purposely design these things to confuse you and to keep you in the dark because they know people are not reading this. Honestly, I haven't read this whole thing. Someone else did it and said, hey, go look at this, and I found it. And I read some of the other stuff. But one thing when you're reading stuff, always read the disclosures statements. Always read those. Because a lot of times in the disclosures, there's a lot of important information. All right, Disclosures, Privacy Act, and Paperwork Reduction Act notice. It's page 100, actually. It says, and when I'm skipping down to the third paragraph, and it says, I got to highlight it, over legal right to ask for information as the Internal Revenue Code section 6001, 6011, and 6012A, and their regulations, they say that you must file a return or statement, again, with us for any tax you are liable for. Now, what they're not saying, it should be a statement, because a tax, you could be liable to pay them or not liable, because it depends on your family structure, right? So they always say, or statement with us for any tax you are liable for, because they want to know what they're going to get from you. That's what they want you to think. But it's also liable or not liable. That's what they're not leaving out, right? So basically, you can write a statement to them on reasons why you don't file. You don't have to file. And we're going to get down to that. All right? That's what I wanted to show you. All right. Now, let's go to the W-4 form, the voluntary withholding agreements. I'm doing all this because it all setting us up for the template. And like I said before, and let me do this now because I always get this after a webinar. The ones who get the free template are the ones who paid for the live webinar. I'm not saying this to you guys. I'm saying that for someone who purchased this after the fact. This is only for the 9 people that signed up. That's it. So don't email me asking me, oh, do I get the template? No. Only for the people who signed up for the live webinar. There we go. That's out there. All right. Voluntary withholding agreements. Employer-employee agreement. I'm going to read this for the sake of, a lot of y'all have heard me read this, but I got some points I want to go over again. Employee-employee agreement. Employee and his employer may enter into an agreement under Section 3402 P3A to provide for the withholding of income tax. They should say withholding of your gifts tax upon payments of amounts described in paragraph B1 of Section 31.341A-3. When y'all reading these things and you understand what the real meaning is, start replacing it. Like I just did, withholding of the gift. All right? So that it can lock in your brain, reprogram your mind. Made after December 31st, 1970. An agreement may be entered. So let's stop there. What's an agreement? Y'all know what an agreement is. I don't have to do this, but for the sake of the newbies, I'm going to do it anyway. Some people that want better understanding. Harmony or accordance in opinion or feeling, a position or result of agreeing. Accord, concurrence, consensus. So it's saying that you agree and your employer agrees that y'all gonna come together, you're gonna start giving out gifts. You're gonna be generous. You're gonna be Santa Claus. All right? I don't know why anybody want to give these people their money, but, you know. An agreement may be entered into under this section only with respect to the amounts which are includable in the gross income of the employer under Section 61. So they're talking about under the gross gift, this right here. Right there. Line 22. All right. All right. Where was I? Okay. The amount to be withheld pursuant to an agreement under Section 3402P3A shall be determined under the rules contained in Section 3402 and the regulations thereunder. We'll skip down. Form and duration of employee-employee agreement. Marco, this is about to answer your question. 1.1. Except as provided in subdivision 2 of this subparagraph, an employee who desires to enter an agreement under Section 3402P3A shall furnish his employer with a Form W-4, executed in accordance with the provisions of 3402F and regulations thereunder. The furnishing of such Form W-4 shall constitute a request for withholding. So that's your formal request, that W-4 form. Number 2, goes together. In the case of an employee who desires to enter an agreement under Section 3402P3A with his employer, if the employer performs services in addition to those to be subject of the agreement, the remuneration of which is subject to mandatory income tax withholding by such employer, or if the employee wishes to specify that the agreement terminate on a specific date. So you can furnish them and give them a date you want it to terminate. Okay? The employee shall furnish the employee with a request for withholding, which shall be signed by the employee and shall contain the name, address, and social security number or the account number of the employee making the request, the name and address of the employer, a statement. Okay, here we go. A statement that the employee desires withholding of federal income tax and applicable of qualified state individual income tax. See paragraph D31 of section 301.6361-1 of this chapter. So you have to do that W-4 form plus give them a statement. Now, that means if you have a job right now and you didn't get a statement, your W-4 form is not good. So if you want to be bold, you can go to your employer and say, I need to make some corrections to my W-4 form. And technically, you can go fix it, put exempt, and then if you want to write a statement, hey, I do not wish at this time to give in a gift according to USC section, blah, 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 such and such and such. Throw some constitutional statements in there. And there's your statement. And then there's your withholding agreement that you're saying you're going to go exempt, and here's why. Okay? Right, Raheem, you are absolutely right. When you go and do your instruments and send it to them, they don't want that. Now, on a side note, Federal Reserve notes are obligations, right, for the United States. So anytime you pay the government in Federal Reserve note or any other person, you're actually committing a crime, because Federal Reserve notes are only supposed to be used for federal obligations. But that's what they want. See, they don't want to tell you that. All right. If the employee desires that the agreement terminate on a specific date, the date of termination of the agreement. So it's telling you how you do. I want y'all to take a little bit of money, but here's the date it needs to stop. So if you do a statement, say this statement is in compliance with these rules, and I would copy and paste this whole rule into my statement. You see what I'm saying? Now, if accepted by the employer as provided in subdivision 3 of the subparagraph, the request shall be attached to, request shall be attached to and constitute part of the employee's Form W-4. An employee who furnishes the employer request of withholding under the subdivision shall also furnish the employer with Form W-4 if such employee does not already have a Form W-4 in effect with such employer. So your statement, and this is what need to be all the information that need A, B, C, and D with your W-4. That's how I would be filling these things out. Now let's go to 2. An agreement under Section 3402P3A shall be effective for such period as employer-employee mutually agreed upon. However, either the employer or the employee may terminate the agreement prior to the end of such period by furnishing a signed written notice to the other. Unless the employer and employee agree to an earlier termination date, the notice shall be effective with respect to first payment of an amount in respect of which the agreement is in effect, which is made on or after the first status determination date. January 1st, May 1st, July 1st, and October 1st of each year. That occurs at least 30 days after the date on which the notice is furnished. If the employee executes a new Form W-4, the request upon which an agreement under Section 3402B3A is based shall be attached to and constitute a part of such new Form W-4. Here you go. All of that's an agreement. You can opt out of it, but if you're going to opt out of it, do everything in writing and according to how they give you the remedy. No, I'm not telling you how I told you I ain't telling you how to fill out W-4 forms, because y'all get fired. Y'all not going to blame me. Nope. Y'all going to have to study this and fill it out. I mean, most people who don't want the money coming out, they say exempt, but what happens is they won't take federal and state income tax, but they'll still take FICA. You still get money taken out of your check. That's why I showed you the FICA form to start with. But I'm not getting into showing y'all how to fill out W-4 forms, because I would really hate people to lose their jobs and on account of that, because I know someone is not going to follow the script, or someone is going to cave when they put pressure on them. All right, so I'm not digging into that realm. Anybody else got a question? Before I move on?
Yeah, Keem.
Yeah.
What do you think about signing the W-4 form, last name, first name? Would that
sign everything last name, first name? But I would sign it and put without recourse or all rights reserved if I'm going to fill out one.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Akeem.
All right. Any other questions? Give me a second. I need to get me some water. Hold on. All right, we're going. Now we're getting the template. The moment y'all been waiting on. I know y'all gonna have a lot of questions on that. All right. Let's get up with the template. Actually, it is two different templates. One is the actual letter, and one is a new affidavit of denial of U.S. citizenship. Let's get this puppy up. Here we go. All right, everybody can see that template. All right, this is the new template. It looks basically the same with some modifications. Some serious modifications, some ass-kicking modifications. All right. This is, of course, when you're sending these letters out, you got to default them. First notice, second notice, opportunity to cure, third notice, default. Okay? And I want y'all to, well, I already got that at the bottom. You're going to send it to whoever sent it to you. They send you a letter. You're going to put no contract on it, and you're going to send this letter. Now, if this works for anybody who has contracted with them by way of doing a 1040 form, and then you find that you owe them some money, Or if you didn't do one and they try to assess you and say you didn't file and this is what we think you owe, or if you've done a 1040 form and they come back and say that that was wrong and this is the correction. All right, here we go. Internal Revenue Service have failed several times to comply with my request as outlined below. Now, this, of course, is after sending many letters and they're not responding to you and they keep telling you they're going to get back to you after 45 days or whatever. So this is basically how this letter is written. So you may, if this is your first time communicating with them, you won't have this paragraph in there, okay? Internal Revenue Service willful disregard and violation of my unalienable rights protected by the Constitution have been ignored. Now, I'm just letting you know, this is the letter that stopped them from communicating with me. This one right here. This matter will be forwarded to your superiors and will be recorded for possible court proceedings. All right? It is not now, then I just went into the regular. It is not now, nor has it ever been my intention to avoid paying the obligation that I lawfully owe. In order that I can make arrangements to pay a tax, I would go in here and do this. Gift. You know, you want to let them know, you know, this is a gift, right? As defined, right? Gift, which I may owe or to the Internal Revenue Service. I request that you document, verify, and validate the following. What is the revenue taxable activity which you have determined that I am involved in? What statute passed by Congress and enacted into positive law renders the activity identified in Article 1 of this request subject to tax? Please state whether the tax that you seek to collect is an impost, custom duty, or an excise tax. All documentation you relied on prior to the generating of the attached communication from your office. And here's the new part. Please furnish a statement signed with my wedding signature that states I consented to giving a gift to the United States as outlined in 31 U.S.C. Section 321D2 for purposes of the federal income tax estate, and gift taxes properly accepted under paragraph 1 shall be considered as a gift or bequest to or for the use of the United States. That's the extra statement. So I just basically copy and pasted that. But you notice I put it in brackets for a corner rule. Okay? All right. My research indicates that the IRS authority to levy has found that you need to be putting these in brackets. This is the update too. We didn't have this before. Oh. Section 6331 further. 26 USC. Okay, let's do this. Put another bracket here. Editing it as we go. Further, 26 USC section 6331. Always, when you're dealing with codes, always put them in brackets. Although this was very effective, we're just trying to tighten it up. Provides for an administrative lien contingent on an assessment which can also be administratively determined. There are two unmistakable conclusions when reading 26 USC 6331 in the annotated, one being that an assessment is required prior to a levy, and two, that 26 USC section 6331 only applies to those employed by the government or government contractors. Please cite what other statute authorizes a levy on parties on the private sector, or furnish me with an assessment including all evidence that you have in your files which show that I am a federal employee or that I am under contractual agreement to the federal government, or proceed to item number 3. Please note, failure to comply with this request shall be regarded as a direct evidence of violation of 26 USC section 7214A. I'm going to go back later and put the brackets in, but you guys need to do that on your letters. Some of you guys already have this letter. And will further warrant the Commissioner's compliance with 26 USC section 7214A, beginning with determination of both your employment, followed by your prosecution, and the Commissioner's determination that I have no tax due. And I would be, put it again, gift. Make it no, due and owing for any year. Please acknowledge that my income and or assets are not subject to levy, but that I may still have an income tax bill. Put that in there again. Gift. Because we defined it. Bill due. Set up a collection due process hearing face-to-face with the hearings officer in a location convenient to me at a time convenient to me, and acknowledge my right to record proceedings and present my self-assessment in rebuttal to the IRS assessment or proceed to item number 3. Note, even if you verify compliance with item number 1, your failure or refusal to comply with this request, such as a failure to produce a procedurally proper assessment, shall be regarded as direct evidence of violation of 26 U.S.C. section 7214A and will further warrant the commission of compliance with 26 U.S.C. section 7214A, beginning with the termination of both your employment, followed by your prosecution and the commissioner's determination that I have no tax due on for the year 2011 to 2013. Now, you know, of course, the year is going to be whatever year you're dealing with. Now, the procedurally proper assessment, whenever they say you're deficient, they're supposed to send you a notice of deficiency and a notice of, there's 2 notices they're supposed to give you. Give me a second. I got it. A notice of determination and a notice of deficiency is supposed to be sent. You never get that. They just send you a letter saying, we assessed you and you owe this. Those are the 2 things that are mandatory that they must send you, which they never do. And that's what leads me, you know, eventually I already have the court procedure. It's just that I'm not doing a webinar on it because everybody's situation is different. And number 2, it's too sensitive. So that would be the court stuff is case-by-case basis on an individual, but it's out there, ready to roll. All right, communicate to me in writing that after further review, you have determined that I have no tax due and owing for me for the years of 2013. If item number 3 is your voluntary act, please sign your determination under penalty of perjury and forward a copy to the commissioner. Now, this is what I added. Pre-trial interrogatories, because why? These letters is what you're going to use when you go to court, because they never answered them. And we're not waiting for them to take you. You're going to take them to court so that they can show that they don't have jurisdiction. All right? Is the Internal Revenue Service a judicial branch of the government? Would the Internal Revenue Service be considered a third-party debt collector? What services did I contract to receive from the Internal Revenue Service? Strict proof demanded. Does the Internal Revenue Service have jurisdiction to impose, demand, and collect taxes from nationals but not a citizen of the United States? That's going to be further explained in the affidavit. Do you have a statement signed with my wedding signature accompanied with the W-4 withholding agreement as required by 26 CFR 31.3402 P-12C, a statement that the employee desires withholding of federal income tax and the applicable of qualified state individual income tax? All right? You can actually go in and put that whole section. I didn't do it. You know, you can go here. Let me switch screens to anything else. And you can take this right here and copy and paste the whole thing because this is what it says. But all I did was take this part and put it in. All right, that's what I did. Didn't want it to be too long. All right, let's go and get letter. All right, there. Number 6, please provide a detailed explanation of 31 U.S.C. Section 321D2 for purpose of the federal income tax, income, estate, and gift taxes. Property accepted under paragraph 1 shall be considered as a gift or bequest to or for the use of the United States. I'm asking them to explain that. What does that mean? I know they're not going to answer. None of these questions they're going to answer. But you're going to have it on a record. You're going to have a notarized copy of this that you're sending to them. Where it states in the Internal Revenue Code that my responses are mandatory, would that be considered involuntary servitude? If so, would that be in direct violation of the Constitution? See, I'm not arguing with them. I want them to explain their questions. When you say I got to do something, would that be considered involuntary servitude? If I don't want to do it, basically. Is that a direct violation of the Constitution? Asking very good questions here. Now, I added this in also. So people who are having trouble finding the codes in this Constitution, I put in the supremacy clause in this letter. So now you can go and add your stuff in. Now you have an explanation for it. Pursuant to the Constitution of the United States, Article, I think that's 6, Supremacy Clause. Clause 1, all debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. Clause 2, this Constitution and laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, and anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Full faith and credit shall be given in each of these states to the records, acts, and judicial proceedings of courts and magistrates of every other state. So now you can go get another Constitution, stick it in any one that makes your argument. You can stick it in here. All right. Then I put whatever letter that you get from them, you're going to put that letter number in no contract. I deny no contract. If you paid it in full, if you did full satisfaction process with the taxes. Finally, in accordance with 1040 Instruction Page 99, Disclosure, Privacy Act, and Paper Reduction Act, notice it says, our legal right to ask for information, this is also what I added, is Internal Revenue Code Section 6001, 6011, 6012A, and their regulation. They say that you must file a return or statement, underline that. Highlight that, underline it, bold that sucker. With us for a tax you are liable for. And here it is. My formal statement is that I am not responsible for U.S. tax returns. Thank you in advance for respecting the rule of law, including my duty to voluntarily assess myself and my willingness to compare my own self-assessment taxes due due and owing for the year in question to the Internal Revenue Service assessment for the same year. Now, I think I read this on the air. Very important, rescission of signatures. Need to go ahead and do that. I, Akeem L, a.k.a. Barbara Akeem, doing business as Akeem Barber in Moab, originally New York, a national but not a citizen of the United States, make no claim of statutory citizenship created by any state or federal government, or hereby extinguish, rescind, revoke, cancel, abrogate, annul, nullify, discharge, make void ab initio all signatures belonging to me on all previously filed SS5, Internal Revenue Service, W-4 forms, DIM-40 forms. Make sure you put all the forms that apply to you. And all state income tax forms, if any, and all powers of attorney, real and or implied, connected here thereto on the grounds that my purported consent was voluntary and freely obtained, but was made through mistake, duress, fraud, and undue influence exercised by any and all government, state, or federal, any agency and/or employers pursuant to contract law or previously signed federal and state forms are hereby extinguished by this rescission. Any alleged consent is null and void as it was given under duress by mistake or by fraud, notwithstanding any information which you may have to the contrary, any forms that have been filed, and any implied quasi-contract that you may have with me were filed illegally and unlawfully or without force and or effect. I further revoke, rescind, and make void abolition or powers of return pertaining to me from all and all quasi-colorable agencies and or departments created under the authority of Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1, 17, and Article 4, Section 3C1, 2 of the Constitution of the United States of America. This rescission of signatures also done based upon my religious instructions and belief protected by the U.S. Constitution, where it states, I preserve all my unalienable rights that are inherent from my Creator at all times. Then you're going to have your unsworn declaration. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States of America that the foregoing is true and correct. Executed on, day of, 2018, by, then you sign. Then you get this notarized. Then you're going to send this sucker to the commissioner and your state's comptroller. Or you can send it to the Secretary of State of your state. All right, here's your template. This is what you will get. This right here. All right, let's do this. Oh, that's not that. What I want. Looking for. In 1 second, I'm looking for the affidavit of denial of U.S. citizenship. Now, this is not something that will be part of the template that you're going to get. It's just up here. I'm looking for it again. All right. Oh, the best constitution. I can't really say because all constitutions are different. I'm gonna do some research. I won't say what's the best constitution. I would say the Georgia Constitution is one of the better constitutions, but there's others that can come close to it. What the hell is my damn affidavit? Hang on, y'all. Here it is. Where's the one I saved? This ain't what I had up. Like, I had one all worked on and edited. And I can't find that sucker, so I'm gonna have to. Alright, I got it. This is not the way I had set it up. Oh, here it is. I got it. I got the one I need. This needs to go away. Alright, I'm about to show you the new. Alright, can y'all see that? Make it a little bigger for you. Alright. If you want to, you don't have to, but I would. I will put this affidavit deny U.S. citizenship pursuant to the Baby Act and declaration of being a more Aboriginal New Yorker, national, but not a citizen of the United States. This can be used for court cases. You could add this with your, is y'all screen frozen? Can y'all see the thing? Somebody said the screen was frozen. Y'all good? All right. The reason why I'm showing you this is because of, I lost my thought. Looking at it, I'll come back to it. You can put this with your case, but I will put this also with my letter. Let them know that you're not a U.S. citizen. Okay, that's what I was thinking. All right, let's go back to the, in 1 second, the 1040 instructions. All right. In 1 second, I need to find this section. Because you have to read these things. And these are the reason why I want you to put this little affidavit with it. Because if it's working in court cases, it's going to work in this. All right. Let me find where I need to be. This is, let me open it back up. Make this a little bigger. All right. In here it says, so that's the what's new section. It says, do you have to file? Right? Right there. Use chart A, B, or C to see if you must file a return. U.S. citizens who lived in or had income from a U.S. possession, see publication 570. Residents of Puerto Rico use TOTS topic 901. See publication 501 for details. Also see publication 501 if you do not have to file but received a form 1099B. I would suggest you read publication 501. Now, did y'all catch it? Did y'all catch it? I'm going to see if somebody caught what I just read. Open up your mic if you want to see if you caught it.
Is it the residents of Puerto Rico?
Right. Citizen. It said, do you have to file? That's the question. And then it said, use chart A, B, or C to see if you must file a return. U.S. citizens who lived in or had income from a U.S. possession, see public 570. So it says, go see chart A, B, and C. It also talks about your status, blah, blah, blah. Right? That's chart A. This is chart B. These about dependents. And then you have C, other situation. But it says its citizen was also U.S. citizens. And look up here. These rules apply to U.S. citizens, regardless of where they live and resident aliens. So if you're not a U.S. citizen, they don't apply to you, right? Got it? That's why I'm telling y'all to put the affidavit with it now. Let's go back to the affidavit. This is a total new affidavit of denial of U.S. citizenship. This is the one we've been showing at seminars. Now you guys get the special privilege to see it here on this webinar. All right? It says okay, let's see the top. Affidavit of denial of U.S. citizenship pursuant to the Baby Act and Declaration of being a Moab Aboriginal New York and national. That applies to me. Don't say if you wasn't born in New York, don't put New Yorker. And you don't have to put Moab Aboriginal. You could just put national if you want to, if you don't feel comfortable with the more, but I would put New Yorker national because that's where I was born. So if you were born in South Carolina, I would put South Carolinian national, but not a citizen of the United States. Okay? I, Akeem L., beneficial owner of Barber Akeem, doing the business as the all caps Akeem Barber, hereby and forever state, claim, and declare I am not, nor have I ever been a U.S. citizen or a U.S. national. Take notice, pursuant to the 1877 Georgia Constitution has ratified without subsequent amendments Article 1, Bill of Rights, Section 4. Paragraph 1, laws of general nature shall have uniform operation throughout the state, and no special law shall be enacted in case or which provision has been made by an existing general law. No general law affecting private rights shall be varied in any particular case by special legislation, except with the free consent in writing of all persons to be affected thereby, and no person under legal disability to contract is capable of such consent. Part 2. Legislative acts in violation of this Constitution or the Constitution of the United States are void, and the judiciary shall so declare them. And take further notice that I, Akeem L., first lien holder of the 14th Amendment person, Barbara Akeem, corp. Sole, doing business as Akeem Barber, did not consent for me or my private property being a 14th Amendment citizen of the U.S. or the U.S. citizen or state of Georgia. That needs to be fixed. You see, U.S. or a U.S. citizen or state of Georgia or any other state in writing or any other consent, especially since this was done when I was a baby, which contracts like the birth certificate was done and social security number was issued in the above mentioned names, which would have put me under legal disability to contract and not capable of such contract, as the above mentioned 1877 Georgia Constitution said. And take further notice that this is a contract. Your failure to answer and rebut this affidavit is acquiescent. You have 72 hours to answer this. Contract is law. I, Akeem L., declare and let it be known by the IRS Commission and all state, federal agencies and the secretaries of state, Supreme Court judge and clerks, for now and forever, I am a Moore Aboriginal New Yorker national, but not a citizen of the United States, nor will ever be a U.S. citizen or U.S. national. You have 3 days to bring forth your proof that I am. I declare under penalty and perjury under the laws of the United States of America, the foregoing is true and correct. Executed on by, sign your name, last name, comma, first name, get it notarized. There you have it. So do we find a corresponding verbiage for our respective state? No, you can use it just like it is. That's why I put the supremacy clause in the letter. So if you want to take the supremacy clause out of the letter and put it in here, you can put it in here. Remember, the state, federal taxes is federal. That's nationwide. So they know what you're talking about. All right. There you go. Now, anybody got a question? Y'all quiet today.
Akeem,
y'all ain't quiet in them damn emails, though. Y'all send emails. Go ahead.
I did the full satisfaction accord back then with the IRS, and they never did anything about it.
Of course.
But would it be okay to say if I did this like 6 months ago or almost a year ago? Can I take that copy of that?
You paid them, so I would use this, and that's why I said I paid y'all in full, because I did full satisfaction, and then I showed them proof that I did full satisfaction.
Show the copy of the check. And add it in there. Okay, cool.
Right. Now, I did not do, when I did this, the last time I heard from the IRS was probably earlier this year or late last year. I put my rescission and signature in, and I think that's the part we were missing. We didn't do that rescission and signature. Let them know all that stuff's void. And I didn't put this affidavit, but I'm telling y'all now to separate yourself, because the instruction says this applies to U.S. citizens. So if you're not a U.S. citizen,
that paperwork's perfect. Perfectly done. Awesome. Thank you, Akeem.
All right, you're welcome. Anybody else?
Peace, Akeem.
Peace. Go ahead.
Have you heard?
Okay.
So there's a lot of jobs out there that when you get hired on, or even to get the job, they say U.S. citizen only, or you gotta confirm that you're a U.S. citizen to even get the job.
The name on the card is the U.S. citizen, not you.
Okay. So I got you. So you basically saying that straw man is, but you're not.
That's the account number. You know, that's why I read you. That's the account of the straw man. So you go in as the straw man. You not the straw man. That's the straw man. Now, if you don't want the money coming out, I gave you the tools to put something together to stop it.
Right.
But I'm telling you now, it's risky. I'm not trying to discourage you. Just be prepared for the battle. Okay?
Yep.
Ready. All right?
Yep.
That system is set up for programmed people just to follow orders, not to question it. So you're coming in upsetting the program. And that's going to cause a malfunction on their part. You know? So it'd be non-cipher. Reject. Reject. Okay. All right. You know, we got a system that's built on lies. Now, when you come in there telling the truth, they're going to look at you like you got two heads and, oh, what is he doing that for? Oh, you risking your job. You know, but somebody's got to go and you're not taking it for the team. You're taking it for your family, for yourself, to keep your money. And you'll have legal recourse if they try to do something against you. So.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, go ahead.
All right.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I came. Just looking and examining everything you presented today, in concept, would this be something that could be effective if you was dealing with state taxes or, let's say, a property tax?
It can be, but state taxes, well, you got to remember, state taxes come from the federal tax return. You have to do a federal tax return first. So what I would do if you had a state issue, I would first ask them a question. How do I do a state tax return? They're going to tell you, well, you have to do a federal tax return, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you have shut down the federal tax return and said, well, I'm not responsible for federal taxing, here's my proof, and you give that to the state because you said I have to do this for y'all to determine it. So if I'm not responsible for that, then I'm not responsible for yours. So that's why it's important to shut the Fed down first. Now, it is inescapable. You're going to have to go to court and get a court order showing that they don't have jurisdiction. And once you get that court order saying they don't have jurisdiction, now you can go to the state showing that the federal don't have a jurisdiction to assess or do anything to me. So I don't owe you guys anything, or I don't even have to do a return because I don't have to do a federal return. You see what I'm saying?
So do we initiate once we do this? We initiate the court process to get the.
You can do the court process now if you wanted to.
And just put all this documentation into that court order?
No. That's why I said that's private. That's a private process. It's a whole nother process. So
we get with you to do that because that's a person by person basis.
That's a whole nother process because the way I'm attacking that is jurisdiction.
Let me ask you this: does this still apply to if we're dealing with LLCs or
I can't hear
companies? Huh?
Some noise came in the background. What was you saying?
I was saying that does the rule still apply to if you have a business or you're dealing with LLCs?
LLCs are responsible for taxes. That's a U.S. person.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Raheem, Linda, Carol.
I'm gonna need a consult.
Oh, so, you ashamed to tell your business on the air, huh?
No, no.
Oh, women always so stupid. You know we all have the same problems, right?
Well, I do a 1099, so I'm a contractor.
So you're that's good. I'm glad you brought that up, so I could discuss that. You don't have to tell your business. 1099 is perfect.
I don't mind. It's just that I do a 1099 healthcare. I've been doing this probably for 10 years, and I used to listen to other people back in the day. I won't go into that, but I received like a basically, I guess you call it a proposal or a request for a self-assessment.
Right. This works perfectly for that. Actually,
Okay.
you're in a better position than anybody else because you never filled out a contract to give away money. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So all
Right.
you have to do, like in your case, I would take the letter. Let's pull up the letter. I would take this letter. All right. I would take this letter and redo it. And I would just put, I'm not responsible for, I mean, I would use everything in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the perfect part here. This one where it says about the gifting. Please provide detailed explanation of this gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I will put no contract on that self-assessment and send it to him.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm kind of thinking on the fly and we're doing this webinar, but I would have to see their letter. You do need a consultation, and then we can customize something more, a little bit associated, because I would take the W-4 information out, this paragraph 5, because that don't apply.
Right.
Right? I would take that out. And then I would add in taking private property for public use out of the Constitution and add that in.
Okay.
And trying to take your private money and use it for public use. Remember that, all right, when I read that code about gifts, they're trying to take your money and convert it into the gift of the United States by doing trying to assess you. And you're definitely going to have to go into court with them.
Oh.
Because the fact, here's why. You're doing a 1099. Whoever gives you the 1099 is reporting that. And it must be you gave them the social, right? When you
Right. So you're on those
stop
forms.
doing that. You just need to give them, go create out of your 98 number real quick for the sake of you. Out of your 98 number, go create another. If you have your 98 number, create another.
No, I don't have one.
Okay.
I don't have one.
Okay, go get you a 98 number.
Okay.
Then go get you a EIN that was created through your 98 number. But guess what name you're going to use? Your straw man name, and give them that EIN number.
Oh, okay.
So now you're giving them an EIN number that's not connected to your social, and you won't get that letter.
Okay.
Ever again. See, they only give those letters. See, they come after the straw man, those socials, harder than anything. But when you transacting business and you're using EINs, they don't send those letters, self-assessment letters to businesses like that. Only time they send letters to businesses like that is if those EINs connected to a social.
I got a question on that, Akeem.
Yeah.
With the when you're filling out a W-9, and it wants your certification, your signature of the U.S. person, would you have your trustee do that, or would you do in brackets?
That don't mean nothing. All they're asking for, that W-9 is basically going to stick in a file. That doesn't go anywhere. It's for you certifying that number is an EIN number or a social security number. That's all that form is for.
Okay.
That's all you say. And so if something were to happen, they want to verify, they just submit it to the IRS, and the IRS comes back and say, well, yes, this is the EIN number. That's it.
Okay.
That's what that form is for. You certifying that that's your correct EIN number, or TIN number, or social security number. Because if you notice on that form, it's 2 spots. The top one is for socials, the bottom one is for EIN. So
yeah, exactly. And I've been going with your process and been trying to go the 1099 route, but I just didn't know if I should still be filling it out as the creditor or just have the trustee put their name in it.
Your name on it. Scribble some number and put without recourse on it and say give it to them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a big deal of a form. That form is only a certification form that's your correct number that you're using. That's it.
Gotcha.
Because when they submit say if you get money off it and they submit it to the IRS and the form is Oh, let me hang on a second. Yeah, the form is just certification form. That's all it is. All right. Anybody else?
I got one last one, Akeem.
Go ahead.
On the that new affidavit y'all put out, I noticed how you had the Georgia and whatnot. Do we want to just slide the full faith and credit clause like you had another one in that, just for general purpose?
Yeah. Anywhere it applies.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I yield on that.
All right. Anybody else?
Peace, Hakeem. I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I guess it's a little different, but say I'm dealing with somebody close to me who was helping them out with student loans and whatnot.
Oh man.
And
types of questions when y'all talking about hearsay.
no, not even like that. I'm gonna ask about. Well, long story short, ended up getting a U.S. Department of Treasury letter when they filed a tax return, and they just, without notice, they just took the return and then, and then sent the notice.
There was some notice. He just didn't tell you he got notice. He got a notice. Trust me, it was a notice.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
So don't ever listen to people say they didn't send me nothing. Yes, they did. Yes,
it's possible. I'm real close to this person, but it's possible one could have slipped through and I didn't see
your letter. Even if it's one, it says, if you don't answer this letter, potentially we gonna come and yank your check. It's some real, and it may be 1 or 2 sentences. You see what I'm saying? See, what they did was, it used to be a formal letter. Now they just kind of casually doing it because they know people up on their game, and then they go and taking it. And plus, remember, the newer student loans and stuff like that, you signed the contract in the very beginning saying that if you default, that they can take it. So they're using that contract that you signed when you first got the loan to take that money. So, yeah.
But yeah, they never proved it. I mean,
right.
Third-party debt collector. But would you attack the Department of Treasury as a third-party debt collector in that case? Because in the letter they
you didn't sign a letter or a note with them. It's the Department of Education that authorized the taking of it to give the money to the Treasury. The Treasury never comes and take anything from anybody. They get other people to do their dirty work.
Right. Okay.
All right. Who else? All right. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, the recording is not going to be given to you guys, but I will be sending you guys this template. All right. And the affidavit of denial of U.S. citizenship, I don't even think we're selling that yet because we haven't determined the price. But once it's ready to sell, we'll put it up on the website. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Peace. Have a good one.
Peace. Good webinar, King.
Webinar.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, King, real quick, you just said the affidavit of, y'all going to do a new affidavit of citizenship?
The one I just read.
Yeah, you're looking at it right now.
Denial.
Okay. Okay, I didn't hear that part. My bad.
Yeah.
Thanks. Good webinar, man. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. All right. Peace.
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 Peace, God.
Peace. Peace to the gods.
Peace to the gods.